আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক
একদম
ইউ।
শুরু করছি।
সুগতা 5টা বাজে, ডট 5টা।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, রাহুল, আই থিঙ্ক উই শুড স্টার্ট।
Yes, I am starting. It's 5 p.m. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, we are at the end of our 8-day course, Introduction to Ophiology, and today is the last day. After today's lecture, which will be delivered by Sri Saurabh Rai, then you will have your examination, which will be done through Google Form. After completion of the lecture of Sri Saurabh Rai, our respected principal sir will say something about the end of the session to validate this session. And then in the WhatsApp group, I will give the link or share the link for examination. You do the needful to the link, and the examination will be over. And after that, you will be able to get your certificate for a considerable day. Now, without wasting more time, I would like to say that today's speaker, Sri Saurabh Rai, will deliver his lecture, and I would like and request to Sri Shrikot Sarkar, Associate Professor of Zoology, Government General Degree College, Shingur, to introduce our respected speaker. Over to you, Shrikot.
Thank you, Rahul. Good afternoon, participants. Today it's a real pleasure for me to introduce to you Saurabh Roy, who is a friend of mine. He's a fantastic personality, and he has a very interesting uh, graph. You know why he's in this course. I mean, he's being part of this course actually adds a chunk of what should I say, value to this value added course. Okay, big chunk of value. Okay, now why I'm saying that, because if you follow his trajectory of pathway, then he started his career as I mean, during his graduation he was studying physics. After that, he went for I mean, he did his masters in business administration, and then he acted as an executive in a multinational company with a big salary. Okay, and he always had that passion. He's a live example of a person that when you have a passion inside you, it is never too late to dream about it, to dream about your goal, or maybe to change your goal. It is never too late. He is a live example of that uh, type. Now, after some time, he left his job. That was a big decision, I know, very big decision. I could not do it. So, and he has gone through so many difficulties, but he never left his goal. And now I know better than anyone here how successful he is right now. Okay, and he has created Monosha Biotech. We are just inspirations for that, and 99% perspiration is Saurabh Roy. Okay, maybe we are part of team Monosha Biotech, but 99% team Monosha Biotech is Saurabh Roy. Okay, and he's an avid learner. Okay, I know uh, how much excited he is about snakes. Being a physics graduate and hailing from business arena, he's so much interested. He was always so much interested in the snake biology that he learns like a child. Whenever he asks any question, he used to ask any question. He, I mean, he is a very good student, and he will never leave any chance to learn anything. Okay, anything new. So he has, I mean, he has achieved many things, so many awards nationally, and he is a real globetrotter. He has gone to, I mean, for snakes, for work, I mean, in projects on snakes. He has gone to Vietnam. He has gone to Southeast Asia, Malaysia, a different Southeast Asian country, Malaysia, Australia, America, and he's planning to go to what do you call? সৌরভ কি যেন আমরা যাচ্ছি কোথায়? Costa Rica, Costa Rica, Costa Rica. He's planning to go to Costa Rica, I'm sure. So I mean, this is his personality. He's an avid learner, and without wasting much time, I would ask him to share his experience and his take on the subject with us. Thank you, Shurab, and welcome again. Please start your lecture.
It's my pleasure, Shukadda, to be a part and parcel of this introductory ophiology program. And thank you very much for the benevolent introduction which you gave for me. Right. So I mean, definitely monosabiotic. What is monosabiotic today? It's probably perspiration is there, but inspiration also plays a role, because without inspiration, I would not have the zeal to continue with the perspiration. So that's very important. Monosabiotic. If the first slide which I am into, it says a lot of things about a monosabiotic, and I'm going to share a glimpse, excerpts of our journey for the last precisely. See, the thing is that I am an avid ophiophilist, which means since my childhood days, very early childhood days, I was fascinated by snakes. I was blessed that my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, was a doctor, and he had a very big farm. Although I'm born and brought up in the city, but every weekend I used to go with my grandparents to that farmhouse. And that's how I fell in love with nature, and especially snakes. Now, one question which bogged me since my very childhood days was that snakes are being feared, they're being revered, and they're being killed. So this was a very difficult sort of a cocktail for me to consume and digest. That on one side it is feared, revered also, reverence is also there, and it is killed. So when I used to interact, and at any single chance, the villagers used to kill the snake. So when I used to ask them that why is it that you are killing the snake, the common answer which I got was that because snakes are dangerous. Snakes are dangerous, and snakes are going to bite, and you're going to die. So I said, snakes are going to die. In that anticipation, you're killing the snakes. The snake has not yet bitten you. But then to a child, you can well understand, I was just shooed off, and nobody felt the importance of giving that answer to me. But somehow that question bogged me. That question bogged me. Slowly and gradually when I was growing up, and then I found that yes, and that question started haunting me when, let's say, in very early standards in my classes and all, I started learning that yeah, snakes play a very important role in the ecology. So then it became more a pain factor for me, that on one side they are playing such a very important role in the ecology, then also they are being rampantly killed without any sort of applying one's mind that why it is being killed. So I would say that monosabiotic has taken a tangible form in the last, let's say, about 5, 6, 7 years or so. But the seed was sowed way back when I was a child. And if you can see the first slide, which says monosabiotic, and that's our registered trademark, which says that monosabiotic from life for life. This tagline of monosabiotic is very important, because although most of the people, apart from the people probably on this platform today, 200 plus people who we are here, we do not consider snake or venom to be death. We probably consider that to be life. But for the perception, but the general perception of human beings around is that snake is death. So we wanted to have a complete paradigm shift, as to in the sense that that's why we deliberately gave this line, from life for life. Because I'll, in the next course of my journey today, the small journey, half an hour, 45 minutes, which I'll be spending with you, I would definitely substantiate the fact that probably till date, the number of lives taken by snakes is definitely less than the number of lives which have been saved by snake and snake venom. So that's why we contemplated a lot, and we found that this tagline is something which we love, from life for life. You know what, I'm going to, at the very beginning, if you notice, I'm going to share my journey with you. So in the journey, it is very important to have certain milestones in mind and how my thought process was completely molded. This slide has nothing to do with snakes, but this is a very important slide which I feel. See, the dogs which we see in our neighborhood, all the neighborhoods in our country, they're having these stray dogs, right? And one thing is very common, and we all are aware of the fact that dogs are responsible for rabies. And I don't know how many of you have actually seen rabies or know or studied about rabies to that extent. I have got some experience about rabies with people suffering, and the suffering equated to death. Because rabies, once somebody succumbs to rabies, there is no reversal. That person is going to die. And so that's but then the matter of the fact remains that still we harmoniously coexist with dogs around. And as we all know, that just by having a glimpse or look at the dog, we can never say that whether the dog is carrying a rabies or it's not having rabies. But still we take a chance, we feed them. And in times of crisis, we are going all out. During this COVID-19 lockdown, we have people in Calcutta whereby they're going all out and feeding dogs indiscriminately, not trying to find out whether the dog is venomous or non-venomous. I mean to say, whether the dog is a carrier of rabies or is not a carrier of rabies. Why this confidence? The confidence probably, I mean, this was something which I noticed way back. This was something which I noticed way back. Now, in my entire lifetime, I had been bitten by dogs almost thrice. Yeah, almost thrice. And every time in the 0 hour, I mean, from the point of time I was bitten by the dog until the next 1 hour, I went and took the anti-rabies, that sort of the injection which was available. And there are many people, many friends, many relatives of mine, many acquaintances of mine who had been bitten by dogs, and they are alive. So I started thinking that, okay, fine, when we are being able to harmoniously coexist with dogs, the probable reason being that we have got a safety net. In the sense, if we are bitten by a dog, we know that there's a cure, there's a sure cure. And I have ventured across the length and breadth of our country and abroad also, and I've found that in most places, dogs do not kill. I mean, if the rabies injection is given at the proper point of time. So which means we human beings, we have confidence on the medication which is available, and that is why that confidence is being reflected in our harmonious coexistence with dogs. Let's think of a situation. If, let's say, tomorrow we come to know that the rabies injection which is being used to help treat dog bites, that is no longer working. I'm sure you would all agree with me, and I can vouch for the fact that all this harmonious coexistence which we are seeing around would be vanished, would just evaporate. Simply, it is going to evaporate, and we are going to be afraid of dogs, and we are again going to kill dogs, and we are going to kill dogs indiscriminately, whether they have rabies or not. So the safety net is that there is a proper anti-rabies injection. And this was actually something which I contemplated and pondered a lot, because there are other animals, and the subject with which we are going to discuss today is about snakes. And so harmonious coexistence with snakes is something which we aspire for. So now I think I have been able to give you a pulse as to why this dog metaphor is something which I'm discussing right now, because this has got a lot of relation with harmonious coexistence, which we all aspire to have with snakes, but it is something which is not there. Again, so yeah, I was talking about snakes, and if you go across the world, the scenario is the same. The snakes are being killed rampantly. Anywhere you go, most of the places, snakes are being feared and they're rampantly being killed. This is also very important. This is not a religious thing. This is something which I used to ask my grandparents when I was very young. That, you know what, in Hindu mythology, we see animals being associated with all our gods and goddesses, right? So we have the rat, and we have with Lord Ganesha. We have you say, let's say, the peacock with Kartik, right, and so on and so forth. But if you have noticed something, I mean, I don't know whether you have noticed or not, but this is something which I noticed way back, that all the animals associated with our gods and goddesses, starting from the lion, to the tiger, to the peacocks and everybody, all these animals shared a place which was at the feet of the god or the goddesses at a lower level. The question which I asked my grandparents was that why is it that snake is the only animal which is sharing a place which is equivalent to the head level or the intellect level of Lord Shiva, who is considered to be the Adi Yogi. All other animals, all with associated with all other gods and goddesses, were at the feet level or at the lower level. But this, the snake, shares the same level with Adi Yogi or Lord Shiva. Why is that? I did not have an answer. I mean, from my parents, my grandparents were not being able to satiate me with something which is I would accept. Then when I further studied, I felt, and this is something which I feel is very, very important. Many of us, we probably are not aware of the fact that vision, yeah, we are definitely aware of the fact that vision is the most developed sensory interface with the external environment for humans. Now, if we go about the evolution of our vision, the way our vision had actually evolved, we will find that snakes have got a very important role to play in this. Do we know this? Are we aware of this? I'll give you why it is like this. There's something called the Isabel's hypothesis. If you go to Google and find out, there's something called Isabel's hypothesis. And Isabel's hypothesis says that I am not an evolutionary biologist, but definitely I have some idea about that. When the humans had evolved from the primates and all, then our vision, our eyes were towards the side, and slowly with evolution, the eyes came to the front. Now, what was the evolutionary tinkering of what was the evolutionary tinkering of the factor which prompted the eyes to shift from the side of the skull towards the front? Isabel's hypothesis says that initially, as we all know, and we are by now all studying snakes, and we have undergone this tremendous, brilliant course. By now, we know that evolutionary, the constrictors, the snakes, if you consider the constrictors, they came first, and after that, the venomous snakes came on this planet, evolved on this planet. The modus operandi of the constrictors are that the primates or our predecessors, our way back ancestors, they used to look out for the constrictors from a distance, right? But that distant vision was being guided by their eyes to the side of the skull. That was okay. But when the venomous snake started evolving, and the venomous snakes were very camouflaged and all, and our ancestors were going to let's say pick up a fruit, and in the leaves the venomous snake was camouflaged, then probably he was getting bitten, and he was getting bitten. So he needed to have that vision which would give them something by which they would be able to see something at a closer distance with a lot of minute details, and that would be a life-saving factor. So the eye shift. Now this pulvinar region of the brain, which is responsible for the vision, this developed because of the venomous snakes, because of co-evolution with the venomous snakes. So today, if we are actually looking at something close, let's talk about the PPTs or the books which we read, or we look at somebody who is very close to me, right? Definitely, the snakes are responsible for this vision which we have. So other perspectives remain in place, but we have got a lot of responsibility to save this life form, this organism called snakes, who are actually responsible for this brilliant factor called the vision. And as I mentioned, and we shall all accept, that this is the most developed of the sensory interface with the external environment for humans. Now, I am giving you just glimpses which actually prompted me to form Monosha Biotech and to move ahead. This is something we know, that land of the traditional snake charmers. India had been known as the land of the traditional snake charmers. But where are they now? We don't have an answer. Way back when I was a child, I still used to see that the snake charmers would come with their flute and all, and used to display snakes in the cities and all. And I, along with many other children, would actually throng around him to find out what is there inside that basket. Fascinating characters. And I was so, being a avid Ophiophilist, I was always in love with snakes. And whenever I used to hear the flute, I used to run around. So that was okay. But I actually carried on that childhood memory with me, and I tried to find out what is their fate now. Nobody doesn't have a proper concrete answer for this. The report which we have, we can actually find this report. There was a study which was done on the snake charmers community, and the gist of the study came out was that almost 58% of the traditional snake charmers answered that I don't know anything else. That is why, in spite of knowing that snake charm after the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, you are not supposed to play with snakes, but I do not know anything else. So what am I supposed to do? Do I allow my children and family to starve? And that is why I am compelled to continue with this profession. So this I don't know thing is very important. So when the other part of the coin is that if they don't know anything else, what do they know? They know snakes, right? That is the common conclusion which we can all draw. Now, this is again a very unfortunate part of the story. We all know this, that in 2017, WHO has announced snakebite to be a neglected tropical disease. And all the other neglected tropical diseases put together, whatever is the number of death toll annually, snakebite kills more than that. And unfortunately, we carry the disgraceful stigma of being the snakebite death capital of the world, because out of this, almost 50% deaths happen in India. Again, this was a prompter. Now, what we all know is that the poor, impoverished rural population are the worst sufferers. And let us not forget, they're actually the food producers of our country. Now, one thing which we all know, when we talk about snake bite, see in this figure also, when we are talking about death. But death is definitely the end. But there's another thing which can be even more dreadful than death itself. For a poor family, let's think about a situation. This person is the breadwinner of the family, and the person doesn't die, but he gets a snake bite for which he becomes permanently disabled. One limb is amputated. Think about the situation. The wife, the children, the widow mother, they're all dependent on this person. So if this person is not being able to earn, what happens to the rest? So it is basically, and this person, we know a situation whereby this person, in order to finance this person's medical recovery, the family had to actually sell off their cows, sell off lands. They had to take interest. They had to take loans on very high rates of interest. And underreporting is a major factor. Underreporting is a very, very major factor. We are actually, I'll tell you in the later slides, that there's an epidemiological study which has been actually designed by the government of India, the ICMR, and I'm being a part of that. I'll tell you later about that. So we are trying to find out that what is the level, what is the extent of this underreporting. But for the moment, let's accept the fact that there is a huge and rampant underreporting. Now, as per the WHO, whatever is the number of deaths, 3 to 4 times is the number of morbidity. So which means if I consider the conservative figure of 50,000 deaths, then there are almost about 2 lakh disabilities in our country every year. So the total toll is around 2.5 lakhs. We all know about this anti-snake venom. This was, again, as I told you at the beginning, the journey of Monosha biotic is something which I'm going to talk about today, because you all are technically sound, at least by the end of this course. So anti-snake venom is being made from only venom. Now there's a factor which has been long discovered by scientists. I mean, I can at least recall a paper way back in 1991, although which I read it later. So 1991, almost 29-30 years back, it was discovered that there's a phenomena called the regional variation in the composition of venom within the same species. Which means, let's say morphologically, if the cobra looks very similar to the from the various parts of the country, but their venom nature is very, very different. And this had been proved scientifically. There are n number of literatures we'll find which proves substantiates this fact. That is one factor. Second is that in India, people talk about big four. The big four, which means the saw scale viper, the Echis carinatus, the Daboia russellii, the Naja naja, and the Bangarus caerularius. We talk about the big four. Now, I prefer to call it the just four species, because India, there are other more venomous species, and when we do not have a proper epidemiological study in front of us, how can we call this to be a big four? You never know. We are not going to do anything based on hunch and gut feelings. So I prefer to call this just four species. Why I'm calling this just four? Because the polyvalent antivenom which we have today, it is going to work only against this four species of snakes. Now, there is non-availability of venom producer in India, whereby the venom is being produced by following the WHO guidelines of quality. That is also something which is lacking. So these three factors were again prompters for me to think about doing something concrete about my passion. Let me see. I just thought that let me see if my passion can be actually translated into my profession. And then ikigai would happen. Ikigai is a Japanese term whereby you resonate. Your profession and your passion are resonating with each other, right? So that was something which I was aspiring for. We all know that in India, the antivenom can be, as I mentioned, antivenom can be made only with venom, but the supply of venom is very erratic, not region specific. There's no quality control, and just four species. So these are constraints. These are very big constraints. Venom is a cluster bomb. If you talk about the venom, it is a protein. You people all know, you all are technically sound. So definitely you would be knowing that venom is a cluster bomb, and it is having huge potential, untapped potential, I would rather say. These are some of the medications. These are some of the established brands which have actually come out what do I say, by exploring venom, right? If you remember, a few moments back, I said that I would actually vouch for the fact that venom saves more number of lives than it takes. Now, this is a big evidence for this. Anybody who is, or anybody's acquaintance, friend, philosophy, and friend, philosopher, guide, relative, whoever is on, let's say, any of these drugs or related drugs, are being touched. Their lives are being touched by venom, right? So venom doesn't always kill, it saves also. Now, if you talk about the WHO guidelines for the production of antivenom, the first thing is that it starts from good quality venom. This was exactly what I was talking about, that although we say that venom of the antivenom available is going to work against four species, but there are other medically important species also. Like, let's say about the, let's see, in Bangladesh, the cat1, this is a WHO published paper, whereby they say the cat1 are the most medically important species. You see, the Naja cautia is there in Bangladesh, but if you talk about the Indian antivenom, Naja cautia is not there. Cat2, fine, a little bit relatively less important, but you get the Bangarus fasciatus, you get the Ophiophagus hanna. If you talk about Bhutan, which is again our neighboring country, Bangarus niger is in cat1, and in cat2 you'll find Bangarus fasciatus and Ophiophagus hanna apart from the rest. In India, however, Naja cautia is there, but the polyvalent which we have doesn't have Naja cautia. Neither the polyvalent in India has this hypnal, which is prevalent in the south. But again, in the cat2, you find Bangarus fasciatus, Wali, and the Hanna. Again, if you go to Nepal, Bangarus niger is something which features in the cat1. Now, think about logically. Close your eyes and just think that if in India, the surrounding countries are having Bangarus niger, again Naja cautia, again Bangarus niger, and the Bangarus fasciatus and Ophiophagus hanna. So can we blindfoldedly say that so many snake bites which are happening in India are just because of those four species? There's a question mark. I ask this question. This is an antivenom which is I've just given a snap of this. It's not very important. Now, there's just four species. We all know this is Bangarus caerularius, the Naja naja, the saw-scale viper, and the Echis carinatus, and the Daboia russellii. We all know about this. I just wanted to show you that these are important. But what we are actually doing is that we are actually trying to get beyond that just four. We are going to go for the Naja cautia, definitely, which is there, which is very, very important. especially in the eastern part of the country. The Bangarus fasciatus, although we would say that this is a very docile sort of a snake, right? This is a major sort of a Ophiophagus, which means this is also a major snake eater. There are probably no bite histories of this, but you never know. And the other form of Bangarus. So these are other species apart from the four where we are also focusing. So we have already got into a collaboration, Monosha Biotech, with BITS Pilani, the CSIR, and the Center for this cellular research, and we are going beyond the just four of antivenom which is present. These are some of the snakes, as Professor Shoykot Sharkar was mentioning. If you talk about any medically important snake across the world, I feel blessed that I have been able to work with them, work extensively with them. The one which you're seeing this, you can make out from the slightly brownish tinge on the head. This is the Oxyuranus microlepidotus. This is the inland taipan, which if you go by LD50, it's considered to be. But let me tell you, this LD50 concept is very probably very important. But to me, a venomous snake is a snake which has bitten you and you're going to die. That is a venomous snake. So very venomous, very toxic. All that sounds okay, but then a venomous snake is a venomous snake. So this is a Oxyuranus microlepidotus. I have worked with the Oxyuranus cutellatus also, which is the coastal taipan. This is a eastern brown. The eastern brown being the Pseudonaja textilis. These are all found in Australia. This is a tiger snake. A tiger snake is a Notechis scutatus. This is a tiger snake. This is considered, if you go by the toxicity of the venom, this is considered to be fourth most toxic. This is the Dendrospis polylepis. This is again the death adder. The death adder, in the sense, we all know the common death adder. This is the Ophiofagus hanna, a king cobra, the world's longest venomous snake. I was fortunate to be working, having worked with this. This is a Malayan pit viper. This is a Naja melanoleuca, the forest cobra. I'm just brushing through this. And if you talk about the value proposition of Monosha Biotech, we are integrating the traditional tribal knowledge with modern science and technology. We are going to give you research grade venom, and we are going to go beyond just the four species of snakes. This is roughly a portfolio of snakes which we are working with, apart from the, I would not say apart from, yes, in most of the cases, this is beyond the just four species. No, the common trait is there. So this is the portfolio which we are having with us. Now, this is a very important thing. This one slide is very, very important. On one side, you see, I have seen the, I've given the picture of a quack, right? Now, if we are active listeners, and if we give some ear to the remote corners of India, we will find that in many cases, the snakebite victims are unfortunately being taken to the quacks. Now, we being urban, civilized, and educated people, we say, that's bad, yeah, that's very bad. You are not supposed to take the victim to the quacks. You should not take the victims to the quacks, because by that way, you are wasting time. And by the time you realize that the quack is not going to work, you then take them to the hospital. And in the hospital, at the end of the day, what happens is that the doctors mention that you have brought the snakebite victim very late. So let's try our best. But in most of the cases, it's too late. But I've got a story to say about this. This is an insight. This is my take. I don't know whether you people would be agreeing with me or not. This person is, I would not say is, was my friend's driver, right? He was only 21 years old. He was bitten by a Daboia Russeli at around 9 in the morning. Within 10, he was taken to a proper, not to a quack. He was not taken to a quack. He was taken to a proper hospital. There for 4 days, he was there. He was given antivenom. And on the 5th day, this guy died. For the 5 days, all this drama which was happening, all this event which was happening, in most of the occasions I was there. I was a silent spectator. I was just observing that what is going on. On the very last day, when this boy died, and to do his last rites, his villagers, friends and relatives came to take the body away, they were discussing among themselves that, Arey, it is said that if you get bitten by a snake, you should go to a proper place, not to the quack. We did not go to a quack. We brought him to the hospital and at the right point of time. Then also, why did he die? This was a question. And the moment this question was floating in the crowd, in that group of villagers, somebody said, no, there's no point bringing somebody to the hospital. It is better we would have gone to the quack, because from the remote village, if this victim was brought to the hospital, he did not come alone. There were 4, 5, 6 family members associated came. For 4, 5 days, all these family members had been staying with him in a rented apartment in a hospital. So that was a big cost to them. So in around, let's say, 4, 5 days, they had spent somewhere around 6, 7,000 rupees on food, transit, staying, and so on and so forth. Although 5, 6,000 rupees would probably seem to be to some of us to be a very paltry amount, but for a poor villager, that's a big amount. Now think of a situation. These people guaranteed that in the village, any snake bite that happens, the person would never be brought, would always be taken to the quack, because they would prefer, they use the term, they say that we would prefer to have a cost effective death. Now this is very alarming. Huh? This is basically fueling a vicious cycle, whereby on one side we are promoting that instead of going to quacks, go to proper places, but on the other side, this is what that is happening. Point number 2, which is all of them stated that now see, we still were tolerant with snakes. Now, whatever is the snake we see, whether that be a venomous, non-venomous, we do not know. We are going to kill them, kill the snakes, because they have taken the life of this person. Just give a thought to this. Some of our achievements, some of our achievements in the sense, we are in the sense, there's a national task force on snake bite research. The government of India, the ICMR, has formed. There are 12 experts. I am one of them. We are associated with the CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Government of India. We are associated with FICCI, IIM Calcutta, DPIIT, ICC. You talk about Startup India, all the places we are associated with. We have done certain things where they felt that yes, they have done something worthy, and they have felicitated us. They have given us the opportunity to get associated and to refine our project even further. This is where we are based out of, but definitely at the present moment, we have started off from the state of West Bengal. So the government is supporting us in a great manner. I was in USA, being facilitated by the government. I had been there. I've seen the operations there. And as I mentioned that I am also a member of the National Task Force and the United Nations Empretic. I'm an advisor to the United Nations Empretic India Foundation. And that's how my short journey is, where we are today. And that's the end of the PPT which I have. But I would like to show you certain other things which are also very important. I think you would find that fascinating, because PPTs at times are very, very boring sort of a thing. Right? So I would show you certain things, and along with that, I will tell you also certain things, because each and every snake, I am basically a snake person. I love being with snakes, right? So wherever on this planet I had been working with snakes, rescuing snakes, and by extracting their venom, making that venom being used for medical research. And I'll start off with something which is a non-venomous one, right? The videos are pretty big, so I would come to the point whereby this is an Australian rock python, right? This was somewhere in New South Wales in Australia, and you see how this snake behaves. The moment we were called in for the rescue, because again snakes were very afraid. People were very afraid of snakes.
There we go. তোমার ভিডিওটা দেখা যাচ্ছে না গো।
You see the snake? This is the African rock python. I'm sorry, Australian rock python. And when I am catching the snake, I am following certain grammar. People who out here have definitely experience with snakes, like our esteemed Professor Shoykot Sarkar. He knows that when Saurav Roy is actually handling this snake, he is following some grammar. So this is one. This is definitely a non-venomous constrictor. Now I would go to one which is let's say king cobra. King cobra, king cobra, king cobra. Yes, this is a king cobra where I am going to show
তোমার ভিডিওটা বোধহয় দেখা যাচ্ছে না গো।
the venom is being extracted. I just look at the copious amount of venom. This king cobra was around, let's say, around 8 feet. Yeah, 8.5 feet. And look at the copious amount of venom it is giving. This is in Southeast Asia. This is precisely in Malaysia. And look at the honey-like venom which is oozing out. So that's a king cobra. Then I'll show you something which is
Saurabh, your videos are not visible.
Naja Atra. This is also in Southeast Asia. This is probably in Vietnam. Yeah, this is in Vietnam. So this is a Naja Atra. Again, if I tell you, I'll show you something very interesting. Whereby you must have heard about the snake called boomslang. Although when we talk about African species, we mainly talk about the mambas, the Dendrospis polylepis, the Dendrospis angusticeps, the Jamesonis and all. But the boomslang venom, if you talk about the boomslang venom is very toxic. And if you talk about toxicity, it is far more toxic than a mamba venom. This is where we are feeding.
Not visible.
Boomslams are at times when they come to the wild and stay with
Perhaps the video is not visible.
lives. So they are reluctant to feed at times. Initially, I'm talking about. So we have to force feed them. So we are
video দেখা যাচ্ছে না
time out there feeding the boomslang, and after feeding the boomslang, we also have to actually give a slight sort of a massage to the boomslang so that the food which we have put in, it actually sinks inside properly. And the boomslang enjoyed the food, I believe. And the other thing is that this was very recent. And this was the one. This is actually a black fang Brazilian snake. Now you see the previous king cobra extraction which I have shown you, and the Naja Atra extraction which I have shown you, that was done in a different manner. But for back fang snakes, we adopt is a bit different, and you will see right now how we actually go about it.
Excuse me.
Which who is anxiously watching that what is not visible if he gets bitten.
Saurabh,
what we do is that we use the capillary method to actually get the venom out.
তোমার ভিডিও
So
দেখা
I
যাচ্ছে
will
না
stop it right here because I know you have your exams in place. And as you have your exams in place, so all the very best for your exams. Look at the overview.
সৌরভ শুনতে পাচ্ছো? সৌরভ শুনতে পাচ্ছো? সৌরভ শুনতে পাচ্ছ কি? সৌরভ বোধহয় লিভ করে গেল, মানে কেটে গেল বোধহয় সৌরভের।
হ্যাঁ মনে হচ্ছে
কিছু একটা গন্ডগোল হলো, ভিডিওগুলো একদম দেখা যাচ্ছিল না।
হ্যাঁ
কি জানি কি হলো।
না জয়েন করছেন এবার মনে হয়। ইয়েস
সৌরভ শুনতে পাচ্ছ কি?
শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
আরে তোমার লাস্টের দিকে আমরা এখানে বলে যাচ্ছি কিছু একটা গন্ডগোল হলো টেকনিক্যাল। আমরা বলে যাচ্ছি যে তোমার ভিডিও দেখা যাচ্ছে না, তুমি শুনতে পাচ্ছ না, সেটা আর কি।
ও আই এম সো সরি দাদা।
তোমার স্লাইড গুলো দেখা যাচ্ছিল কিন্তু ভিডিও গুলো একটাও দেখা যায়নি।
Hey, Baba. Oh.
মানে খুব ইন্টারেস্টিং অংশটাই মিস করলো এরা।
Oh.
এনিওয়েজ, আর কি করা
ঠিক
যাবে।
আছে।
তোমার অনেক ধন্যবাদ, তুমি অসাধারণ মানে তোমার এক্সপিরিয়েন্স শেয়ার করার জন্য এবং তোমার জার্নিটাকে এত সুন্দরভাবে আমাদেরকে বলার জন্য আর কি। এবং ইউ আর রিয়েলি অ্যান ইন্সপিরেশন ফর অল অফ আস।
Thank you very
Thanks a
much,
lot
Logan.
for being my team member here, as I am your team member in my academic endeavors. You always be my team member and the most important pillar of my team. Okay.
Thank you very
I
much
will.
for all the compliments.
Okay. And
We wish we can actually together jointly together do something tangible and very concrete for the snake bite victims of our country. We really hope to do something very, very concrete, because all the or many of the times what happens is that most of the things are in theory and paper, but we would actually like to do something very, very concrete. And I think we feel blessed that we are almost on the right track and getting and having the support from all the various important entities. So we are absolutely on the right track.
আচ্ছা সৌরভ, হ্যাঁ একদম ঠিক বলেছো। And some people are asking, some participants are asking whether you can share your slides or not. This slide will not be shared for, I mean, this day slide only. Okay. And videos are very, I mean, these are very large files. Okay. So we are sorry. তবে চিন্তা নেই, আজকের পরীক্ষার জন্য তোমাদের এই ভিডিও থেকে হয়তো কিছু থাকবে না আর কি। For your personal consumption, it's a huge experience that Saurabh Roy has. Enjoy it, that's all. Okay. And
Okay,
take some
all the very best for your examination. My best wishes to all of you, and definitely on this platform, I can see that in near future we definitely will not be having a scarcity of manpower to fuel our project and our vision. So I am really very thankful to Agram College and to Professor Shoykot Sarkar for having arranged such a for taking such a great initiative. My best wishes. Thank you very much. Shoykot, can I sign off?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, please wait for a while. Please wait for a while. Saurabh Babu, please wait for a while. Okay. Actually, it is now time to start our valedictory session.
Okay.
And our respected principal sir is present here. He will deliver a few things regarding this web lecture series as well as this workshop series. So over to you, sir.
Good evening to everybody, my dear speakers, my friend Shoykot Sarkar, Saurabh Rai, head of the Department of Zoology, all members of the organizing committee, and dear participants. On behalf of the Office of the Principal, on behalf of Teachers Council, Internal Quality Assurance Cells, non-teaching staff, members of Students Union, and from all corners of the well-wishers of Jongalmol area, I once again express my sincere regards and gratitude to all participants and speakers for sparing their invaluable time with us. And as all of we know that the name of the course is Introduction to Ophiology, that we have learned some basic concepts related to Ophiology, that means particularly related to different types of snakes, their taxonomy, morphology, anatomy, behavior, and especially some identification of venomous and non-venomous snakes, and also the role of different types of toxin, and finally how to save these valuable creatures in our environment So actually all of us enriched through the deliberation of our honorable speaker. We also grateful to Dr. Shantanu Chakraborty, Principal, Government General Degree College of Singur, and also our colleagues of Singur Government College. They also actively participated in the program. So finally, at the end of the program, we gain a little bit knowledge through this course, and I hope in near future we must apply this knowledge in our society for the sake of our human population, not only actually human population, but also save our snake population also. And at the end of the valedictory session, today one examination is also there. Our member of organizing committee, Dr. Krishnendu Sinha, has already framed the questions that provided by particularly Saikat Sarkar. And I hope this examination, and we hope within 15 days our college authority will provide the qualifying certificate to all our participants. And finally, I once again thanks to all. আজকে যারা এই অনুষ্ঠানে অংশগ্রহণ করলেন, আমার স্নেহের ছাত্রছাত্রীরা, বিভিন্ন কলেজের থেকে আগত অধ্যাপকবৃন্দ, বা যারা এই সাপ সম্পর্কে যাদের একটা প্রাথমিক জ্ঞানের ব্যাপারে যারা এসেছিলেন, আমার দৃঢ় বিশ্বাস যে এই কোর্সটা যেভাবে আমার ভাতৃপ্রতিম সৈকত যেভাবে তৈরি করেছে, এবং অলরেডি আমি আপনাদের প্রথম দিনের অনুষ্ঠানেতেও একটা কথা বলেছিলাম যে যখন এটা সিঙ্গুর কলেজের পরিচালনায়, গভর্নমেন্ট জেনারেল ডিগ্রি কলেজের পরিচালনায় যখন এটা হয়েছিল, আমি নিজেই ছাত্র হিসেবে অংশগ্রহণ করেছিলাম এবং আমি যথারীতি নিয়ম মেনে প্রত্যেকটা দিন ক্লাসটাকে ফলো করেছিলাম এবং নির্ধারিত দিনে একদম শেষ দিনে গিয়ে যেমন পরীক্ষা দেবার আমি দিয়েও ছিলাম এবং অ্যাবভ 80% কোয়ালিফাইং মার্কস নিয়ে আমি কোয়ালিফাইও করেছিলাম। আমার খুব চিন্তা ছিল যে আমি পারবো কিনা, কিন্তু পেরেছিলাম। এবং আমার তখনই মনে হয়েছিল যে যেভাবে কোর্সটাকে সুন্দরভাবে সাজানো হয়েছে, আমরা সাপ সম্পর্কে আমাদের অনেকগুলো ভুল ধারণা থাকে, অনেকগুলো আমরা সাপ সম্পর্কে লোকের সামনে নানান গল্প শুনে থাকি। এই কোর্সটা যারা অন্তত করবে তারা অন্তত একটা প্রাথমিক ধারণা অবশ্যই পাবে এবং বিষধর সাপ বা নির্বিষ সাপ, যে কোনো সাপ দেখলেই মানুষের যে একটা ভয় হয়, ভীতি হয়, সেটা সম্পর্কে কিছুটা হলেও আমরা যারা প্রাণীবিদ্যা, যারা পার্টিকুলারলি জুলজি স্টুডেন্ট, তারা তো অনেকটাই শিখেছি, কিন্তু যারা জুলজির বাইরেও এতে অংশগ্রহণ করেছেন, আশা করব তারাও অনেকটাই উপকৃত হয়েছেন যে সাপ দেখলেই তাকে মেরে দিতে হবে বা সাপ দেখলেই ভয় পেতে হবে সেরকম কোনো ব্যাপার নয়। এবং শুধু তাই নয়, এর সাথে সাথে আমরা সব সময় ইকো ফ্রেন্ডলি, পরিবেশ বান্ধব এই কথাগুলো বলে থাকি, সাস্টেনেবিলিটির কথা বলে থাকি, বায়োডাইভার্সিটির কথা বলে থাকি, যেগুলো খুব কমনলি এখন সর্বত্রই আলোচনা হয়। এবং সাপ যে আমাদের একটা উপকারী বন্ধু, তাকে যেভাবেও হোক বাঁচিয়ে রাখতে হবে, না হলে তাদের প্রতি যদি আমরা সব সময় একটা হিংসাত্মক ভাবনা নিয়ে তাদেরকে যদি চোখে দেখি, তাহলে অচিরেই সেই সাপগুলো পৃথিবী থেকে অবলুপ্ত হয়ে যাবে। তাই আমরা যারা প্রাণীবিদ তাদের একটা বড় ভূমিকা আছে, এবং আমি তো মানে সৈকতকে ধন্যবাদ জানিয়ে আমি ছোট করব না, কারণ ওর জীবনের একটা বড় অংশ, গবেষণার একটা বড় অংশই ও সাপ নিয়ে কাটিয়েছে। এবং সত্যি আমি একটা ক্ষেত্রে একদিন আমার ডিপার্টমেন্টেও একটা হয়েছিল, একটা নির্বিষ সাপ, সেই আমার জীবনে প্রথম যে সৈকত আমার হাতে তুলে দিয়েছিল, এবং আমি সাপটাকে সরাসরি লেজ ধরে আমার হাতের উপর রাখতে পেরেছি। বেশ বড় সাপই ছিল। তারপর সেটাকে গাছে ছেড়ে দেওয়া হলো। তো সেক্ষেত্রেও আমি লক্ষ্য করেছিলাম যে সেইভাবে ভয়ের ব্যাপারটা সব ক্ষেত্রে থাকে না। তো আশা করি আমরা সবাই উপকৃত হব, এবং আগামী দিনে যতটুকু শিখলাম সেই শেখাটাকে যদি আমরা প্র্যাকটিক্যালের ফর্মে, কারণ এর তো কোনো সিলেবাস হয় না, এটা একটা কি বলবো, প্রকৃতির প্রতি ভালোবাসা, প্রাণীর প্রতি ভালোবাসা, এটাকে কেন্দ্র করে এই কোর্সটা সৈকত তৈরি করেছে, এবং অক্লান্ত পরিশ্রম করে তৈরি করেছে। দেশে বিদেশে কত রকমের, যেগুলো সাপ নয়, সাপের মতন দেখতে, তার দিকে দেখলে হয়তো আমরা সাপ ভাবি, এই ব্যাপারগুলো নিয়েও আলোকপাত করেছে। তো আমার বিশ্বাস অত্যন্ত প্রত্যন্ত যেখানে গ্রামাঞ্চল, যেখানে সেইভাবে চিকিৎসক নেই, মানুষ এখনো সাপে কামড়ালে ওই ওঝার কাছে চলে যায়, গুণিনের কাছে চলে যায়, এবং সময় অতিবাহিত হয়ে যাওয়ার ফলে বহু ক্ষেত্রেই মানুষের জীবনহানি ঘটে। আমরা প্রত্যেকটা মানুষ আমাদের রাজ্যে তথা রাজ্যের বাইরেও যারা শুনলেন, সবাই যদি সেই গ্রামাঞ্চলে মানুষগুলোর কাছে গিয়ে সঠিক তথ্যটা তুলে দিতে পারি, তাহলে আমরা বহু মানুষকে প্রাণে বাঁচাতে পারবো। এইটা একটা বড় অবজেক্টিভ এখান থেকে আমরা পেয়েছি, এবং আগামী দিনে আশা করব আরো এই ধরনের ভ্যালু এডেড কোর্স we are really hopeful and very much optimistic that within a few months we again organize such value added courses. সকলকেই ধন্যবাদ। আপনারা ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন, এবং আজকের পরীক্ষাতেও সকলের সাফল্য কামনা করে আরেকবার সকলকে আন্তরিক শ্রদ্ধা, যথাযোগ্য স্থানে আমার প্রণাম, প্রীতি, শুভেচ্ছা, ভালোবাসা জানিয়ে, সকলকে ধন্যবাদ জানিয়ে আমি আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করলাম। ধন্যবাদ, ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন।
ধন্যবাদ স্যার। আজকে তাহলে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান তথা কোর্সটা শেষ হয়ে গেল। এবার যেমন পার্টিসিপেন্টসদের ইনস্ট্রাকশন দেওয়া আছে সেই অনুযায়ী আমরা গ্রুপে লিঙ্কটা শেয়ার করে দিচ্ছি, যেখানে তারা এক্সাম দিতে পারবে।